Attorney General Sessions, thanks for being here. General Sessions, who do you work for? Do you work for the American people or do you work for the President of the United States?
Well, I'm a member of the executive branch, and I work for the American people.
And it's with that in mind, your work on behalf of the American people, that I want to ask you some questions about facts and public media reports. On February 14th, the President asked the FBI director about the Flynn investigation, and I quote, he said, "I hope you can see your way clear to letting this go, to letting Flynn go. He's a good guy. I hope you can let this go." Close quote. Then on May 9th, the President fired Comey. On May 11th, he went on television and announced that he fired Comey because of, and I quote again, "the Russia thing with Trump and Russia," close quote. General Sessions, do you think it would be reasonable for the members of this committee to conclude that the President, by first interfering in one investigation and then interfering in an investigation into himself, committed obstruction of justice?
I don't believe that's a fair conclusion, and but it's a matter that I guess would be in the breast of the special counsel.
The obstruction of justice being any, among other definitions, the most popular one in statute, any communication that endeavors to influence, obstruct, or impede the due administration of justice. That's exactly what the President did in both of those cases. And in spite of, moving on to the special counsel that you brought up, in spite of efforts, bipartisan efforts to protect the special counsel, Mr. Mueller, the Republican leadership in this committee have refused to take action to ensure that he's protected. Do you believe that the President has the legal authority to fire Special Counsel Mueller?
I'm not able to express an opinion on that at this
Can he
moment.
fire members of the Special Counsel's team?
I'm not able to answer that.
General Sessions, do you believe that the President should have the authority to be able to block investigations into his own campaign?
Investigations have to be conducted by the appropriate law enforcement officers without fear and favor, without politics or bias.
Right, and without fear of being dismissed by the President in order to block that investigation, because again, that would certainly appear to represent obstruction of justice. And when you fail to acknowledge that, it is essentially a green light to the President to go ahead and do that. And now, I wanted to talk about the special counsel's investigation. Thus far, there have been some indictments. There's a guilty plea. Can you tell me, in your opinion, does the President have the power to pardon George Papadopoulos?
It would be premature for me to comment on that, I believe.
Because?
The President has power to pardon. There's no doubt about that.
Right. Does he have the power to pardon Paul Manafort and Rick Gates ahead of a trial and a conviction?
I'm not able to comment on that. I haven't researched that question. I think it's settled, maybe settled law, but I'm not.
What do you think the settled law is?
I don't know.
And does he have the power to pardon Michael Flynn, any other member of the Trump campaign? Let me ask you this. Does the President have the power to pardon his own family members? Could the President today pardon Donald Trump Jr. for, among other things, being in contact with WikiLeaks regarding these emails? Can he make those pardons today before there's anything further that comes from the special counsel's investigation?
I would not be able to answer that at this moment with any authority.
General Sessions, you started by telling us that you're the American people's lawyer. Now, you're not recused from giving us answers on these. You're not comfortable giving us answers on these. But here's the problem that we have. You said when you started your testimony today that there is nothing more important than advancing the rule of law. And when you answer the way you have, it suggests that the rule of law is crumbling at our feet. You took an oath to uphold the Constitution. We took an oath to uphold the Constitution. And while members of this committee and the majority may choose to abdicate their responsibility with regard to these very important matters, you cannot. And the interference, what you've told us today in just this exchange, what we should all be concerned about is another Saturday Night Massacre if you can't tell us that the President shouldn't fire or can fire the special counsel and everyone who works for him. We should be worried if you're telling us that the president may be able to pardon in advance all of those who are being investigated. We should be worried about the pursuit of the rule of law. General Sessions, again, we may in this committee.
The time of the gentleman has expired. The Attorney General can respond if he chooses
Well,
to do so.
just briefly, one of the things, if you respect the rule of law, is the Attorney General should not be giving legal opinions from the seat of his britches. So you need to be careful about that, and that's what I'm saying to you today.
I do appreciate that, General
has
Sessions.
expired.
These are not new issues
recognized
that I would
the
think
gentleman
require
from
you to
Texas,
give these
Mr.
opinions
Poe.
from the rule of your
Thank you,
britches.